Guys, welcome back to the Bachelorette After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Good God, we have a lot to cover, and Chad was insane tonight. Welcome to Bachelor After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Here we go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And
I can
now,
still hear you guys.
let the buzz begin.
Welcome back, everyone. My goodness. I would just like to point out, by the way, that Brooks Forrester, the one and only Brooks Forrester, picked this song. It could not be more perfect. We always try to pick like an anthem, a theme song that describes maybe what happened in the episode, how we're feeling in the moment. And this Jordan Sparks remake of Love is a Battlefield could not be more spot on, my friend.
Every once in a while, you know, lightning strikes twice.
Well, let's do
Lightning in a
this.
bottle.
Lightning has struck all you guys with beautiful faces tonight. So for those of you guys that are listening, and I want you to know we are live on YouTube, but some of you just listen in. So I'm going to let you know who these voices are, and I also want to encourage you to sometimes come on over to YouTube and check us out, because I'm sitting next to three beautiful human beings, not just on the inside, but outside as well. I'm going to start on the opposite end of the table. Because we try to make this, we try to balance out. We got two guys on the end, two girls in the middle. We try to, balance
try
out.
to sandwich it.
We try to sandwich it. We'll talk about some sandwiches that happened on the
Like
show.
JoJo's breakup with Evan.
There it is, perfect. That voice you hear over there is none other than
Brooks Forrester. Nice to see you guys. Hope you guys add some comments here on the YouTube chat roll.
Yeah, my gosh. And next to Brooks, as always.
Hey everybody, I'm Kristina Zias. I am trying to contain my excitement for this after show right now and for tonight's episode. And my anxiety, yes, thank you.
Completely stressed out. I'm Chelsea. Hi guys. I'm gonna go when I get in the car. I'm gonna blare this song and sing it.
Oh, I forgot the song was still going. It's a perfect bed for what's going on.
No, that's really what's gonna happen.
And my name is Danny, guys. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this is a show we do every Monday night. But this week, you get us Monday and Tuesday. We'd like to make this announcement from the top. We are going live again tomorrow night. There's so much drama. We were pretty pumped. We asked Brooks for a little insider knowledge. But if they add an episode, we asked you this last week after the show. If they add an episode, that means there's so much drama. And I didn't know where they were going to cut it off. I didn't know what was going to happen, but my goodness.
You didn't think that it was going to be the clincher right before the actual punch in the face?
Okay, full confession. I thought
some...
Chad was going home tonight, and then tomorrow was going to be like a normal episode.
Wait a minute, you guys still think there's a punch in the face?
Yeah.
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 Do you not think that's a punch in the face?
They're bleeding from their eyebrows.
You don't think James T is bleeding from the face from a punch to the face?
James or Evan?
I don't.
Wait, I thought Jordan was bleeding.
I don't think there's a punch to the
No,
face.
it's
I think
James
it's just
T.
teasing us.
Hold on,
as to
chat
what's gonna
roll.
happen.
By the way, shout out to everybody on chat roll. I want to say hello to you guys. Thank you for chiming in. We love seeing your live comments and what's going on. But sometimes we use you guys, and here's one of these times where we need you guys to come in the clutch for us. Who got their eyebrow was bleeding at the end of the episode? I believe it was James T.
It was James
From
T.
next week's episode, yeah.
Yes.
So let us
I'm
know if you
super
guys
wrong.
thought it was Jordan.
Kristina's just
Yeah, I'm
saying,
wrong.
I don't think that that's really what happened.
I don't think it's like Chad punching him in the face.
Well, then we'll do this. Chat roll, chime in on why you think he's bleeding from the face, because I'd really like to hear some opinions on what's going on, why he's bleeding from the
Probably
face.
caught an elbow in the pool,
Yeah,
just in there
something
horsing
like
around,
that.
and was like, he just came up and popped me.
Exactly.
And also one more person.
Editing genius.
I like to do this sometimes because we get a lot of Snapchats and tweets and things. And this girl, I was at Disneyland today, and as I was leaving,
Did you say hi to my sister? My sister was there today.
Really? No, this girl, I was leaving, and she said she snapped me herself, and she said I was too nervous to say hi. I just saw you in the Disneyland parking lot.
What? Too nervous to say hi to
super
Danny
nice
Hoyt?
of her.
So fast.
And her name is Julie Ferg24 is her Snapchat. Hi, Julie. Next time, please always say hi if you see us in public.
Yes.
Is Danny not approachable?
No,
What
look
does that
at
mean?
him.
Does that mean I'm not approachable?
Maybe.
I was
You're
like
a little-
whistling to myself. The
You're
happy
very
song.
well dressed, though, Danny.
I've spent the
Danny
entire,
is always very
entire
well
day.
dressed.
Guys, let's talk about outfits. Brooks Forrester's outfit today is on point.
I've had this shirt for a long time. I don't
Your
wear
buttons
very
match your
often.
shoes. That's how well you did today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you thought about
Well,
that.
I thought about not ever wearing this shirt again. And
And then you came in and we were like, Brooks, you look so
Okay,
cute.
wait,
I was
so-
just really tired of what I had.
You
in my
guys might be wondering why we're
closet,
doing the
so-
sidebar about clothes, because I want to bring up something about styling. On tonight's show, one of the things I tweeted out was all the guys were wearing leather jackets, which fit the bad boy theme. It's like everybody was in
Yeah.
motorcycle jackets. So I tweeted this out, and a friend of mine from Ohio, Megan Broadway, tweeted back. And Kristina, I want to ask you, because you are a stylist.
Yes.
There's not a stylist on The Bachelor? Is this true? Like, Brooks, one of you guys chime in.
I think there is
They
a-
all chose to wear these on the same night?
No, well, there's obviously a stylist on The Bachelor. Whoever doesn't believe that is fooling
Well, does it
themselves.
style... Okay, is there a stylist just for The Bachelor, Bachelorette?
I mean,
or
you
the
have to ask
whole-
Brooks that. I think it's just for the Bachelor Bachelorette, but I'm not
There were
sure.
literally like 15 guys had on leather jackets.
I think they just wanted to wear leather jackets. Maybe a producer came in and was like, guys, we should all wear leather jackets.
I mean, Chelsea, you do style blogging
What
as
do you
well.
think?
No,
Why is that?
I don't think that there's a stylist. I think that leather jackets are trendy and they were cold. And I also
I
think
think
that
Trendy AF.
yeah, and if they're going on this show, they probably go to different outlets. Like, hey, I'm going to the Bachelor, and they gift them clothes. Or
Is that what you think
Bachelorette.
happens?
Yes.
So they're just like, they walk
There's
into...
not a stylist on set.
No, and also I don't know
I'd
Oh,
if
walk
some of
right
the
into
guys are
Saint
smart
Laurent
enough
and be
to do
like,
that.
Yeah,
You
no,
don't know
I don't
me?
think for the guys,
Well,
they
let me
probably
have
don't
it.
even know that that's a thing. But I think for the Bachelor, for the girls,
Girls, they probably
yeah.
do that. Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly what I would do. I would try. So I'd go right at the top. I'd start with Saint Laurent and then work my way down.
And I think what would happen is exactly that. Like, I think clothing companies are more likely to give women clothes
100%.
for the
sure.
show than
Yeah.
men.
Definitely.
Well, there's
and look
not-
at who the audience
Yeah,
is.
I don't want to get into this debate. I was about to say there's a lot more less expensive women's clothes. I feel like for a show like this.
Maybe
Am I wrong?
can we
Like
talk
a-
about Chad?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Wait, actually
We have
though.
2 nights to talk about.
Wait, with Chad did say that he bought a whole new wardrobe for the show.
That's right. He
He
did
takes
say
like
that.
$7,000.
Yeah.
He did say that. That's right.
Although
He spent
I find that
$7,000.
questionable.
That's what
He
he said.
sells luxury homes, bro. He's got
Wait,
it.
you guys though,
But
for real?
he bought deep V blue tees.
Yeah, exactly. And like
We
half
should just give
zip,
Evan one of his.
half
Yeah, but
quarter
you don't
zip
know
sweaters.
what label.
Yeah, and zip
you don't know
sweaters.
what
Those are like
labels on
$20
that
and
shirt.
Maybe he
$50.
bought suits.
All
nice
right,
suits.
we're getting off the
Okay,
rails. So
okay,
let's do
yeah.
this. The theme of tonight, I would say, is safety. That's the word I'm going to
Okay.
throw out. Would you guys
Yeah.
agree? If you had to give
Yeah.
one word, is there a better word? Violence? Steroids? What other options do we have?
That and emotions.
Ooh.
That's what Evan was saying.
He's a glass case of emotion.
I want the words I'm thinking that come to mind. I feel like people aren't gonna like me saying. So.
You get one word.
No,
Just say
there's no
them.
filter here.
Well, I just
Sorry,
Not
Mom.
allowed.
it's
Sorry,
2
Mom, if
words.
she says
I just
something.
think little bitch is what comes to my mind.
I think that's actually what he called Alex. He either said little that word or little.
No, I think he said
Bitch, he
bitch.
said
He said
bitch.
you're a little bitch.
or little dick.
No, I
No.
think he said something else that I don't want to say.
I think yeah, I know what you're thinking, but it's not that word.
Like a cat.
yeah, the P word.
Oh yeah.
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 The producers right now are like, clean it up, guys. Clean it up.
Yeah.
Say it again, but say the B word.
Yeah,
Say the
yeah,
B
yeah.
word.
They're counting. That's 4. That's 4.
3 dates tonight, 2 one-on-ones and a group date. So let's start with this first one-on-one. It's to Chase, and ironically, I think this is funny. I think the producers, when they write these date cards, throw in little things. They said, "Let's get physical." There was so much foreshadowing tonight. It was "Let's get physical"
Yeah.
because there's physical things that are happening on the show outside.
But wait,
of
that
this
happens on every date card. What do you
Yeah,
mean by that?
No, not
Yeah.
just the
Wait,
date. I mean the
clarify.
whole episode.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Double entendre.
Bro, listen, I could be
no,
wrong
I
here.
think you're reading.
I was like,
I think you're
hold on.
reading into it.
Yeah.
I'm a conspiracy theorist. I know this,
Yeah.
but even the word the yoga teacher used in their physical whatever was angergasm. And I tweeted this out. That was like foreshadowing for the whole episode because Chad
Yeah.
is just a giant angergasm. That's what he
Yeah,
is.
but
The
I
whole
think that's a
episode, the whole
coincidence.
cast is. I think.
Yeah.
So,
orgasms.
you guys agree with me? What I'm saying
No,
is
I think you're
that's
thinking
some
too much into it.
No,
I
I want to
think-
believe that
No,
there's foreshadowing.
I don't think that.
But really,
it
what
doesn't
is an
roll that well.
angergasm?
I'm
That
gonna
mean-
I'm gonna agree with Danny on the side. I bet the editors were like, yeah, it kind of goes along with it.
Yeah, it's
kind of a game.
angergasm. Let's
Yeah.
get physical.
Why not?
No.
It's edited so well.
All right.
Oh
the
yeah,
house is
for
divided.
sure.
Brilliant. So, okay,
House is divided.
let's focus on this date before we get into Chad. So, it's with Chase. There's yoga, angergasms, the noises, the proximity, the yim yams or yub yabs, whatever they did.
Yim yam.
Give
What
me
do you guys think of this
Jim
date
Jam.
overall? Chelsea, let's start with you. What do you think of this date?
First of all, there
Awkward?
was, I was just gonna say I've never been to a yoga class like that, and if anyone,
Would you?
yes, I would go.
After a week of knowing a guy?
I don't know if they knew that that's what that was gonna be.
No, they didn't,
Right.
obviously.
So if
She
I
was
didn't-
like, "How long
if
have
I
you been
didn't know
into
what
it?"
I was walking into, then I guess you gotta.
But
roll
if you
with
knew
it.
what you're walking into,
No, not at.
I don't think I would after a week.
No,
No, no one on the
No.
right mind, I don't think.
But talk about
Not
3-4
in
months
that,
in, enhancing like the intimacy of your life. I think it's awesome.
Well, because this wasn't like yoga class. This
Yeah,
was,
first of all, it wasn't
intimacy
yoga.
class.
It's
That
almost
was
like intimacy counseling. Like we need to get you outside of your comfort zone and like get you guys close to each other in a different way.
I mean, I don't. I
Yeah.
feel like something like that has never been on The Bachelor in the sense of like that's the date.
No,
And
they
I
did
could
it
be
last year.
wrong.
I can't remember.
But that
where
was
the
so.
cheap-
I
it
know
felt
what you're talking
familiar
about,
to
but
me too with
this-
Carly.
Yeah,
And there was
But
another one where they had
On
to like
Bachelor
get in the
Paradise.
mud. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Bachelor
I think
Paradise.
something about
Paradise.
this, like, it's not even the it's just straight up like you just sit on him and you're just gonna stare into his eyes.
And we all
Like for a second, I didn't know that I was watching The Bachelorette.
What do you think it was?
Like I don't know.
it was like pre-core to a soft porn.
Like yeah,
you
like,
were like,
this
"What
is a
is
really
this?"
good like movie. I'm super into this.
Yeah, the tension when they were just
Yeah,
staring
no,
at
it's
each
great.
other was
Their
great
tension
I
was
see what you're
great.
saying.
Yeah.
Christina, what do you think of the overall? I mean, are you into it? What do you think?
Am I into the date overall? No.
I'm
Am I
into
into
that
JoJo
shirt.
straddling Chase? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Why?
Because I kind of like felt the tension and the chemistry between them too, and I was like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah,
I'm
same.
getting a little sweaty over here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I like that, and I thought the date overall, I think it ended on a good note. And I actually really like Chase. I think we didn't talk about him enough last week, and I remember going back thinking about that. He did such a good job surprising JoJo, and I'm so happy she gave him a one-on-one date this week.
Yeah.
I really like him.
Yeah.
I don't think I haven't fallen completely in love with him. Because for whatever reason, he's not still standing out in my mind,
Right.
even after a date like that. But I think he's a front runner.
She did mention that she liked his tattoos as well, which showed up after they started removing some
I
clothes.
mean, Chris has a
Well,
rockin' bod.
he just reminded me a little bit of James in the sense of like
Which James?
The
TNT.
friend zone.
Not only in that sense, but like I feel like the way he communicates is very genuine and upfront, and he tends to have like a side of sensitivity to him.
Yeah.
I think a little less so maybe than James, but I think that's partly why we like him.
Right.
But what I found that is interesting is pre this date, sorry, I'll just add one more thing, is we kept hearing from JoJo her saying, it's really important for me to feel safe in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't know why or what that was, if it was out of context, because...
She said it at least twice tonight that I noted, because that's why I
Same.
made the word safety.
Okay, yeah. What do you think about that? Was that out of context? Is that something that she was talking about in relation to Chad?
I think it's
Is
hinting
it
on maybe
set
some
up
things
for
she's gone
Chad?
through in her life, and she's realized that these are on her priority list of what she needs.
Yeah.
And she's learned safety is something that's important to her to feel.
How do you mean? What does she mean by safe?
A guy that makes her feel, I think it's protected in a lot of ways. A guy that
Protected,
protects
yeah.
her heart. A guy that also can protect her physically. So I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean like something's happened to her, but guys maybe have had her heart, or she's given it to them, and they haven't protected it. They have acted loosely or done things that haven't protected what they know is important to her. So now she's opened that umbrella up bigger and said, I want a guy that protects me. I want to feel safe.
See, for me, when
It's
I
an
think
umbrella
about
term.
this, I think this is an important feeling for me too in a relationship. And
Yeah.
I always think about this because I'm so scared of earthquakes and I'm new to California.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? If I was with my boyfriend and it was like the end of the world situation, I know I would feel safe with him.
There you go.
Like I know he would
That's an
protect
aspect
me.
of it as well, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I just got goosebumps. I think that's kind of what JoJo wants, and I think all women kind of want that.
Sure,
don't you think?
absolutely. And here's what I would say. I think women that haven't been through serious relationships may not understand that that's what they want, or how to
Right.
articulate that that's something they want to feel. But I think, even guys, I want to feel protected.
For sure.
If I let down my walls and give my emotions to somebody,
Yeah.
I would use the same terminology in saying I want to feel safe. And by that I mean I want someone who protects what we have and doesn't just act recklessly or loosely. I want them to value the feelings that we've.
And
put
I think
in
that's a
each other.
good point, because I think there is physical safety and emotional safety, and I think
Sure.
someone can give you both.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
are different.
And I think she's probably speaking to at least
Agreed.
aspects of both. For me, what it says about JoJo is that she's mature. That tells me, honestly, I had questions like, is she ready? I'm not sure. I don't know her. We only know her off TV. That makes me think that she's a lot more advanced in her maturity and her feelings and understanding herself, telling me I think she is a lot more ready than maybe I even realized.
What I thought was really interesting on this date too is that Chase to me stood out because he seemed to be ready as well, and he got kind of intimate and was vulnerable and talking about his divorced parents and how he really, when he finds the one, he wants it to be like the one and only time he gets married. And I think that's important. You don't want to, I don't think anyone goes on dates being like, I'll get married. Like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like I think everyone kind of wants it to be a one-time thing. But to hear a guy vocalize that, I think is important.
What I think she addressed that as well. She's like, it's nice to hear from somebody who, I know is here for me, and then respects the sanctity of marriage, and that's
Correct.
important to him.
Yeah.
So Brooke Johnson in the chat room just wrote in. She was talking about JoJo on her own blog, on her website, or wherever she writes her blog, alluded to her date with Chase, and she said the time we spent together that night instantly made me knew that I needed to spend some quality time with him. This is before they went on their one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
Quality time with him, so stay tuned for that. So she was alluding to this episode tonight.
Interesting.
And I want to touch on a couple things that Chase said before we move on. But he said, she said she felt connected, and he asked her right away. So she tells him to his face at the one-on-one dinner part that she felt connected. And right away, he goes, and I love this, as this journey continues, how can I make you remember that moment? So that's a mature question to ask. Like, he wants to make her remember that feeling. Okay, because she felt connected. So how do I continue to make you feel that throughout this journey? I don't think I've ever heard a guy ask it that way.
But I also don't think that that's something that you have to work on to remember. Like, if you have to make an effort to remember that, then I don't think it stands out as much as it should.
I think that's a good point.
Well, and there's two things from that I picked up on. I felt like Chase was also a product of producer conversations a little bit because his transition was into the divorce, and I think he saw that opportunity, and it felt a little awkward for me when it came up. I felt like it was a decent spot to do that, but I felt like it was on the tip of his tongue and he was waiting for the time to talk about the subject of like his parents being divorced. And he had kind of this preloaded conversation that he was going to have with her. Yeah. And then second on that, with like getting to remember, I feel like that's a conversation producers have with you a lot. Like, how is she going to remember you? Because you're not going to have, if you're going to have this one-on-one date, who knows when the next time
it's early on. So here's why I love this. A lot of guys just try to discover and try to find ways to continue the connection. They use the cocktail party, they use group dates, they use any moment they can to continue it. But if he puts the ball in her court and says, JoJo, tell me exactly how I make you remember our connection, he gets straight up from her on a platter in front of his face, well, here's how you do it.
Yeah,
so
but
Tim,
I feel like to what Chelsea said, you shouldn't have to try and do something if there's not that instant connection.
Then
if you can't remember him because of that great connection you had, then was there ever really
it's
a connection?
Game. She's gonna
then
keep
was that
making
connection that
connections.
great?
Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, part of this game, and I hate using the word game, but part of this show is that she's continually making connections and making new experiences that are going to start trumping each other, and they're going to create a hierarchy in your brain. And so for him to continually remind her that, hey, we did have something real, even though she might emotionally be on a high from a helicopter ride or a boat trip, and he's like, yo, remember when we danced with Lady Ellen Bellum and do all these, well, Charles Kelly, whatever, and do all these things? Like, how can I remind you that this was gold for you in this moment?
That's true.
You know, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's hard.
Something else he said, she goes, do you think you're ready? And I love this response. He goes, if everything feels right and there's enough love to overcome that fear, then why not?
Yeah.
Ladies, would you love somebody to say that to you? Like,
I think
is that what you want? Does
that,
love
but
overcome
not
fear?
the why not. That's like why not go to a movie? Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Why not?
Any other thoughts on Chase before we move on to the group date? I feel like there's a lot in this group date.
No.
All right. Group date card comes. Love has no secrets. Ali is reading it, and I couldn't remember his name for some reason. He lives like 2 streets from me, I found out.
He doesn't get a lot of airtime.
He doesn't.
Names on the date card: Jordan, Grant, Wells, James F., Christian, Ali, who's reading it, Daniel, Vinny, Nick, Evan, Alex, and of course, the last name on the card, Chad. Love has no secrets. And Brooks, you touched on something, and I want to let you talk about why, but you said while we were watching that this moment after they read the date card was one of the biggest downers you've seen in Bachelor or Bachelorette history. Yeah. Why? Well, I agree. I just want you to talk about it.
Yeah, for the most part, whenever I'm watching The Bachelor or Bachelorette, whenever there's a good moment, there's a positive, we always see the negative. So like any good story arc, right, it's going to go up and down, up and down. So I was like, okay, here comes something negative right after the nice moment with Chad, or with Chase. And I just was like, man, they just kept going and going and going.
Well, it all started, Chad said, whatever he said, but basically he said, I don't want to go if there's that many dudes, if there's 12 other dudes.
I guess why it made it so interesting to me is you don't see that many guys in the house having that honest of a conversation about how they feel about somebody right there in front of them, all like that. That was I've never seen that. Yeah. They were all like, you're a douchebag, this guy over here sucks. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, he's getting ganged up on. And
who Chad was.
Chad.
But I felt like it was a really cool, just genuine conversation. Like genuine, good or bad, but it was real. Like that conversation to me in my eyes as a viewer was like, shit, that really happened. Yeah. And they captured it and they showed it and it just brought everything full circle.
See, I mean, I agree. I think what was so difficult for me is because to see Chad get ganged up on, and I could understand why it's frustrating for the guys who maybe don't get a date, but I don't think he meant it to intentionally hurt anyone or like offend anyone. He's like, man, I want to have a one-on-one date with her. I wish I wasn't going on a date with 12 other guys.
Right, and I'm sure they can all agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Luke could get away. Exactly.
Yeah. It's like what we talked about last week. It's all just how Chad delivers. Yep. Because no one there, I guarantee you, like wants to go on that date, and that's fine. Is it the name of the game? Yes, but they would all be joking for like, I can't wait for this group date.
So it goes back to what we always talk about, the unwritten rules of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. This is just part of the process. When you sign up, this is what it is.
Right.
Everybody just gets it. Chad's just the one who and he
He
even
just
admitted
vocalizes
that he just vocalizes it in ways. And I think there's an aspect of that people love. It's TV gold, but he's a dick in the way he does it. And I think that comes back to, everybody agrees that's the problem. It's his delivery.
Yeah,
I started following him on Instagram. Even the way he I'm not Instagram, on Twitter this week. Even the way he responds to people, I was telling you guys, is he's such a dick, but he's kind of right, and
He's
it's kind of
right
funny.
about
He's right,
everything.
honestly, about 90%
He literally
of it.
doesn't
yeah.
care.
Totally.
That's why him and Daniel are friends, because Chad doesn't care and Daniel doesn't have a filter, so it's really fun to watch because you get the most honest things you've ever heard in your life.
I just don't think what Chad was saying warranted him getting ganged up on. You know what I mean?
You're right. I think it opened a door. What it did is it opened a door for guys to respond. They took an opportunity to, he said something that didn't need to be said out loud, but it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
None of the guys want to go with 2 other guys, but it's what you do. You're on the group date. You should be excited about it in the premise and the realm of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Outside, of course, no one wants to do that. It opened a door for the guys to be like, okay, bro, why in the world are you here?
Well, and what sucks is he's probably forced to do that as well. I mean, he's going to get asked how he feels about it, how he feels about the group date over and over, and so eventually he has to say something, and he's like, yeah, okay, I don't want to go, and then that's the clip we're seeing, and then they...
Yeah, well, and vice versa, you said some of the guys gang up on Chad at that moment. What I didn't like is that when it flips and a guy says something to Chad, then it opens the door for Chad now to attack Jordan, and he comes out with his pent up, and then attack Alex by your 25-year-old little whatever sitting on the couch. So he had these pent up frustrations with them, and now he flipped around and used this open door to attack them.
Right, and
Both ways.
And I just shut up.
Evan, stop talking.
Evan literally shut up.
Because I bet Evan is just terrified of him.
I really don't
I
like
would be.
Evan.
I
don't know if
really
he
do
is.
not.
I thought
Yes.
he was at first. I don't know if he really is.
definitely
Physically,
is.
yeah.
That's why
Guys,
he's trying so
if
hard.
If this was real life, no TV cameras, and this situation was happening in a living room,
Oh, he wouldn't be as bold.
I would.
No way.
He's bold
I
because
mean,
he has
Evan-
17 guys
yeah.
who have his back.
and also a crew of people and security guards and everything.
and consent forms, it's just
What did
he
you guys-
drives me crazy.
What did you guys think of what Chad said to Jordan?
About being a
It
27-year-old
was just so
retired
unwarranted.
failed football player.
Yeah.
It's unwarranted. He was trying to push a button in Jordan that there is probably a
But
feeling
Jordan started it with him because Jordan said something about I hope it's not a spelling bee
He
or
did.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was
Chad's
calling
like,
Chad
oh.
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
neither of them were great, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. Neither of them were warranted. They were both low. I mean, I don't know did Chad have a spelling error somewhere that we missed? Why
No,
did he
that was
he
just
was
his
just-
thing of
just trying to
calling
say
her dumb.
backhanded that you're dumb?
Yeah.
I thought Chad upped the game with what he said. He went way above and beyond with an insult. Insulting someone's real life career. I mean, that's a low blow in my book.
I don't know. On Discount Double Check, when he said that, I didn't feel like...
Do you guys? They
That
didn't
was
get that
very-
one.
I
I
mean,
got it. I
yeah.
appreciate the
You don't
Discount
think it
Double
was
Check
what?
reference.
I
Well,
guess
I
it's
just
what
didn't think
Aaron
it, I
Rodgers
just
said.
didn't think it was that clever either. I was just like...
How many
wouldn't want
times
it to
has
be a
Jordan heard that?
spelling bee.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I suck at
I
spelling.
just
Yeah. I just think that Chad really, what he says is that it's true. He is just defending himself and standing up for
I
himself.
agree.
And I think you should do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's
And you
talk
picked
about.
up on it, by the way, and I hate to go there, but it's along the same conversations. When Evan was walking by, you stopped and passed it back, and you're like, Evan's the one that started
Yeah, well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the different guys. So they go to this village theater in Atwater, or this theater in Atwater Village, and they have to tell their most embarrassing, crazy sex stories. I actually got to know some of the guys. I feel like I got to know. Grant is actually great with a microphone in front of people.
Yeah,
He's
he
the
was
first
great.
guy.
He was
I
great.
couldn't remember his name, but I asked you guys who in the world was this? He was great. People are loving on the chat roll Discount Double Check, by the way, Brooks. And so people go, and of course it comes down to, you see in the back, Evan talking about this plan he has to basically take low blows at Chad. Somebody mentioned this on the chat roll a little bit ago, and I had this thought. He's the only guy who works in sex-related things for a living.
didn't even
I would
talk
have
about it.
loved to hear some, I'm sure
Yeah,
he has
totally.
brilliant stories. And I say brilliant because I think they're probably good, and if he had permission. I realize they're at someone else's expense, but I'm sure he has some great stories. You know what I mean?
I just thought Evan's whole spiel
Not making fun of the disorder. That's not. I just want to clarify. That's not what I'm doing.
was just, talk about unwarranted. There's a time and a place, and he just took the completely wrong platform. To me, that wasn't funny. It wasn't mature.
The steroids.
just the whole thing, knocking on Chad just because, like, life moment, just because you're knocking someone else down doesn't make you look better.
Yeah.
Like, to me, Evan, you looked like an idiot. Like, no one was laughing, and you're up there talking about
It was more of a
steroids.
reaction, like a, oh my gosh, did he just say that reaction? Than it wasn't funny.
I don't
It
know.
wasn't
I
funny.
just don't think that
It
that
was more
was
like
the right
he had the gall to
platform.
do that. Yeah.
But again, he had the balls to do that because he's standing around with a crew.
When it wasn't that question wasn't his place either. Why are you here? I was like, what? Where is that coming
Yeah, no,
from?
the whole thing.
Right.
I was just really.
Also, who else felt like Evan was doing Alex's dirty work? Because
Alex was like his
Little bit.
hype man.
Alex was his hype man. On last week's episode, we saw Alex get so mad that Chad interrupted Evan's time with JoJo. And I feel like Alex has been hyping him up, and like Evan has just been in the house and it's like, I don't know what to do, and like use this opportunity. And Alex, I feel like, was the only one that was cracking up about this. If you looked in the audience, he was dying. He thought Evan was amazing. But I did not think it was cool at all.
I didn't think it was cool at all either.
Well,
and as a woman, like if I was sitting there watching it, granted, like if I even thought that I might have been having a thing for Evan, that would have nailed it. Like nails in the coffin for me. No, and it's not attractive.
Also, what I thought was interesting is that JoJo kind of made it seem like she didn't know what was going on. But if you looked, she turned around and she like kind
Asked
of
if he was
patted
okay.
Chad
Yeah.
and like kind of was holding his hand, being like,
She
Don't
also
worry.
did that. She also
With
did
Evan
that
after.
once. Yeah, Chad was up with Evan after. She was very aware. She was very socially aware, which I appreciate about her a lot. So I want to talk about this. You guys didn't notice this at first. So then Evan gets done and he walks back, and the last person to go is obviously Chad. So Evan walks back, and we see Chad turn around and then grab the back of his shirt, and we hear the ripping noise, which was an after effect for sure, because his shirt wasn't ripped; it was still on, and it was fine. But we see that happen. That whole thing happened, right?
Right.
And I started to rewind it, and you're like, no, he just pulled his shirt. And I'm like, no, let's watch this again. Watch what happens. And we hear the explanation later. Chad puts out his hand and tell him, like, hang on, because we can't
me
both
walk out.
squeeze in front of these people's knees.
Yeah.
And Evan decides to go anyways. They're trying to slide past each other. And Evan actually, in my opinion, initiated that.
Totally.
He tried to slide Chad past him, kind of put his hands on him, like, move. And Chad, I would have done the same thing. Like, why are you? And I wouldn't have ripped a guy's shirt, but I'd been like, stop. What are you doing?
yeah.
Evan initiated that, in my opinion.
Evan initiated everything, in my opinion.
Well, and then what's
Evan needs to go
worse-
home, in my opinion.
100%.
And then what's worse is Evan continued, like, you ripped my shirt, you owe me an apology. Talked to Chris Harrison. He's like, he ripped my shirt. He said it another
He's
time.
just such a
I'm
little
like,
boy. Just be a man.
Yeah, who cares
Ugh.
at that point?
I'm so over him.
So that whole thing happens. I think Chad fails miserably, which was funny. And I think JoJo, because of the altercation, if that hadn't happened, and I think JoJo's not as like heightened, her anxiety, I think she maybe kisses him.
Maybe, because I just wish Chad like knew how to have a little bit more fun, because I do like him and I believe whatever he says is kind of warranted. But he does need to learn how to play around a little bit,
Yeah.
But with that said, if that didn't happen, like it was kind of like a sexy moment,
Yeah,
He,
it
like,
could have been.
It could have been a sexy one. He could have taken charge of the situation, kissed her, and been like, "Screw you guys."
I think Chad
You
blew
know?
it. Like, Chad could have had some fun there.
Yeah.
And he could have let loose and showed his personality. I feel like he's a guy who probably, maybe this is bad that I'm judging, but I'm sure he probably has like some funny stories. You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
And I'm sure he could probably tell him in this really like masculine way that none of the guys, it might have shown us a different side of his personality, and we didn't get to see any of that. Even if he just made something up and embellished it, we could have seen it, and he just blew it. I didn't like that.
I mean, I think it would have just been good if he at least made something up, because again, like we've just been saying, I agree with a lot of things that Chad says. Like, I don't know if I was put in that situation in that date that I would have gone on stage and be like, hey, the person that I'm dating and everyone else, like, here's a secret from my sex life. I just want to voice it on a microphone. Like, I agree with Chad when he's saying, like, that's something between us and we're not even there yet. So, but to your point, you can make up something funny or something you've
show your
heard.
personality.
Yeah, just show.
That's what I saw for Grant. That's why I honestly thought later, I know we're moving on to where they hang out later and get to talk to JoJo, but I thought Grant was going to get the rose. I honestly saw the most from Grant in this episode. I loved watching Grant in this episode.
Well, that rose
So let's fast forward to that.
kills me.
Well, before we get there, we need to talk about the fact that he punched a door and he puts his finger in Evan's face and all this stuff.
I would
mean,
put my finger in
is
Evan's
that
face.
grounds for the show to kick someone off?
No, absolutely not. He should have. Evan had it coming, first of all, and I think that Chad was doing Evan a favor by finding a door instead of his face.
Ooh, real quick, Allison Atkins, who is an active member of tweeting us and on the chat roll, just said Mike Fleiss just tweeted that we're going to get to see Chad's sensitive side. So maybe that's tomorrow night and night 2.
I think so, because okay, we'll talk about that.
We are seeing all the other sides, but his sensitive
predictions.
side, besides when he talked about his mother and the death.
Honestly, I just feel bad for Chad. I think I've said this before. I always feel bad for the person who's getting ganged up on. I just don't think it's fair. I think you're all there for the same person, same reasons. And I think the person who's getting ganged up on is the person that people are just threatened by and jealous of.
Well, have you felt that way in the past with like?
I felt like that with Olivia.
And
I felt like Olivia was just minding her own business. Like, why was she getting? I mean, I didn't love her.
Because she got the first impression rose, and right away she walked out.
And
She's the biggest.
Yeah, I think it's like a common theme we see all the time.
But what I like about this is she hasn't had a moment with Chad for everybody to. He doesn't have a target on his back because of anything JoJo's done. He's put that target on his back himself.
That's true.
One of the other things I love is there's not one guy. I know early on people thought it was Jordan, but there's not one guy that she spent so much time with that she's focused on that everyone's like, shoot, that's the guy we're chasing.
Right. I just also wish that people, I mean, granted it makes like the franchise what it is, but if you're on the show, like even going back to Olivia, if you're there minding your own business and doing your own thing, I don't understand why that's necessarily viewed in with such bad eyes. Like, you're there to find love. Why is everyone always concentrating on the other people in the house? Like, why does it matter to you?
I'll tell you why. My opinion, because I think it says a lot about what kind of person you are. If you isolate your stuff, that's not a characteristic.
I see where you're going, but to make it your number one priority, that's not why you're on that show.
No, not number one. But if you can't even get along as a normal base level, like we can relationally just get along in the same space, we have to be here. That's putting others above yourself. That's showing characteristics of someone that the person has said they want to embody. That's why you're on the show. If you can't handle that, then that says something deeper about the person.
I just feel like it's not your responsibility because, okay.
I disagree. I think it is.
Well, no, because I think if the person that you're dating, like, I understand that you want to protect them and all those things, as you should in someone that you love or essentially trying to marry. However, if that person is falling in love with someone negatively, like let's say like Chad, that's also going to fall on her.
What do you? I'm not sure.
It's up to her to.
It's up to her
to find those things out about Chad, as opposed to her being told that by somebody else.
Sure, I'm not advocating to go spend all your time telling on someone in the house. What I'm talking about is just general rules of like not isolating yourself in the house, being giving with your time and your space and your energy. There's nothing else to do.
I'd like to say something.
Just on that same topic, I also think that, like, again, they're also being asked by producers what their opinion is of Chad, and we're also seeing like 2% of what's actually happening. Right. Alex voices an opinion, and so has Evan. But I'm sure there's tons of different interviews with Alex where he's focused on JoJo, and like maybe 10% of the time he's focused on Chad because they're the ones pushing that narrative on him. So I feel like also a lot of the guys we're not seeing a true version of them and aren't necessarily entirely.
We're seeing everything dialed up until Chad leaves. We're seeing everything dialed up. They're going to get as much gold as this out of they can. I tweeted this tonight. It's a couple quotes Chad said, and I said, "What a dick, but TV gold." Because it's true. This is one of the best episodes I've ever seen of Bachelor or Bachelorette. You guys agree?
Totally, 100%.
Absolutely, it was TV gold. What do you got, Kristina? Go.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
I just think that whenever we do see Chad in the house alienating himself, first of all, he doesn't ever seem to be totally alone. He's normally with Daniel, which at least he has a friend. And two, he's like working out or eating, okay?
Yeah.
So it's not like he's doing anything that is so harmful. He's not like there talking trash to Daniel about everyone else in the house.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Everyone is constantly talking about him, but he seems to keep minding his own business and working out, which I feel like if you're in there for all those hours, why not do
something good for yourself?
Yeah.
Agreed, and I don't hate that. I think at this point it's become something where there's so much drama. That's all that's happening. He's kind of been forced to have to do that. Brooks, you're the only one that can really answer this question, so I want to ask you. Put yourself in the house. You're on this season, okay? And there's a guy. Think back to when you were on, and there's a guy Chad's in the house. Chad's there. Do you feel safe? In his room or not? Just around the house. Would you feel safe?
No,
knowing what you know.
I would have safety concerns.
Sure, right?
Because let me give you an experience that I had when I was on the show that wasn't there. Bryden was on Dez's season, and he was an ex-military dude who had openly talked about having suffered some
PTSD.
PTSD. And we had this like makeshift room in the back one time in Atlanta, and it was like a sealed door, and he and I were in there, and it was right when I like snapped my finger, so I had to get up and take like Vicodin every certain amount of hours or else I couldn't sleep, right? And change out my ice bags. Well, he had gotten blackout drunk, like drank this whole bottle of Jameson, passed out in a room, and I woke up to get him away from the door because he'd passed out in front of the door instead of on the bed. And I don't know what was happening, but he went into some aggressive memory and was saying things that I didn't know, so I had to back up on the other side of the room and be like, if I don't watch myself, he might really physically hurt me in here and not even know what he was doing.
Not that he would intentionally
totally just because of him being drunk. And I remember telling the producers, like, I don't ever want to be in a room like that where no one can hear me, because I was like, something could happen right now.
Yeah.
So I think some similar scenarios are probably playing through the guy's mind as well. It's like, he's 275 pounds. Like,
he's
if he snaps,
big guy.
he could do some real damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Okay, that's
That
a
was
great
heavy.
point. That was heavy.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
No.
There's a lot to say about Chad. I want to move on to a couple other conversations that we had. One of them was Jordan, and we talked about this. Jordan's
Bryden's the nicest guy, by the way. That would, like, you know, the fact that I say that makes Bryden seem like
no,
like the nicest guy.
You're the nicest guy, so nobody thinks you're gonna come at somebody like with this intention of being. One of the other conversations we talked about this last week. Jordan's ex-girlfriend posting about riding the bench. This Instagram photo,
oh my god,
alluding to him cheating. But I want to talk about something he said. He talks about, she was asking him in their cocktail conversation about past relationships. And he was talking about this last one. He admits to making a lot of mistakes. Do you think that is what he was referring to?
No, because he didn't say that, and I feel like he had the opportunity to
say it.
Yeah, but if you want to be totally honest with someone, you can.
Do you do that on date 3, maybe third hour?
I don't know, but he was like just saying that his mistakes were working too much.
I wouldn't have come right out with it. I would have just been like, yeah, you know, I've made some mistakes in the past.
First of all, I want to have a whole show and talk about that Instagram post. Second of all,
you loved it.
I loved it.
What did you love about it? Did you? Think
I mean,
it was,
not in a sense
you
of
like
like
Jordan.
Yeah, not in a sense of like you go girl. Like I loved the drama behind it.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it was funny
because I was just like, I mean, talk about some balls. Like,
Yeah.
whoop. But what? No, I don't think that that's what he was alluding to.
Okay.
Granted, cheating is a mistake. It's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But
Kaya
I mean,
and Yodi just said the exact same. She's like, well, cheating is a mistake.
yeah, no,
Chelsea.
absolutely. No,
I know,
let me say this loud and clear. Cheating is a mistake. However,
So let's move on
you
to
can
this.
cut me off.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were still talking about.
No,
Never mind.
I'm good. Good.
Go ahead. This is your moment.
No.
Okay. Well, I want to get to this part of the rest of the cocktail conversation with Evan getting the rose, because this is a big deal. Evan confronts Chad, saying he's always working out, eating, cooking, being around him. And then Chad starts walking by everybody's conversations. Mm-hmm. And then they get to the point where Evan just puts it on the line and draws a line in the sand, which I know you hate, Kristina. He just says, if Chad stays here, then I'm not staying.
Honestly, she should have been like, you should go home right now, because who are you to give me an ultimatum? Obviously, you're not the type of guy I want to be with who's telling me I have to make this decision right now. I think it's so screwed up on so many levels, and I'm sorry, like, JoJo, you are not vibing Evan.
Period.
At all.
Preach. Everything that she just said.
At all.
Yeah.
There's no way I can actually believe that JoJo is into Evan and wants to give him this rose. He's done nothing but pretty much
just a
antagonize
crybaby.
other guys. He's creepy, and he gave her an ultimatum. Like, hello, that is not following my checklist for a guy I want to marry. Sorry, no.
How do you guys feel about Chad lurking during all this? Just lurking, and I think he was tipsy, if not drunk.
He
to be
seemed a
honest
little
with you.
tipsy.
Yeah. His commentary was hilarious.
Yeah.
He's freaking hilarious.
He stopped and talked to himself in the mirror.
Yeah,
we
he
all
was
thought he
like-
was gonna say something. So he was like,
Hey,
"Oh,
yeah,
hey
yeah.
there." Yeah.
That was funny. But wait, right, you guys?
No,
do you agree with
100%
me?
right,
Like,
but
that's not
honest-
okay to do.
It's not okay, but I was really surprised and almost a little turned off by JoJo and how she handled the situation.
Totally.
Like,
All of our mouths dropped when she gave him the rose. We thought he was
but
going
even
home.
her, when he said that, like the way that she reacted to him, she's like, oh, I need some time to think. That's a hard one.
Brooks had
What?
Brooks had a pretty
Like,
funny comment.
what was it?
About the kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna let you say it.
I just said that it's like they kiss like friends would kiss. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to kiss Chelsea on TV, that's what it would be like.
That's what it would be like.
Okay, here we go. Okay, that's done.
For those of you that are listening, Brooks just mimicked almost kissing Kristina. It was fantastic.
I'm honestly, I have such a disgusted look on my face, and it's not because of you. I just can't imagine the scenario with Evan.
Ew, I know,
really creeps me out.
Grosses me out.
It bothers me so much. And who believes that the producers told her to give Evan the rose?
Oh, I absolutely think
100%.
100%. Right? They made her do it.
Okay, but I have a question. So while he's having that conversation with her, right? Like, here's your ultimatum. So afterwards, that's when they would chime in and say, you have to give him the rose. So her answer to him, that was actually how she felt? Or that?
No.
So, but how would it come before?
I think, what do you mean?
No, it was like after she had the time with all the guys.
Remember,
and then
she's like, Evan, can I talk to you for a second? And takes him out and gives him
Right, so I'm saying, so initially, Evan gave JoJo the ultimatum.
Right.
So her initial response was her response.
Yeah, we're saying I have to think
I'm
about
just
it.
confused by her.
Because I don't think she wanted... But here's the thing, is I do trust JoJo. It doesn't make me frown or think less of her. I think she had to, and she understands part of the game is you have to listen to producers and whatever.
Yeah.
That kiss lasted 2 seconds. We all saw nothing there. I don't think
Right.
she's just giving things away or giving things up.
Yeah.
I trust her integrity in it. I do.
But
No, I don't think it's like
I mean,
questioning her integrity.
what bothers me so much too is like, Evan, you keep saying like you're like this tough guy, but then how?
I like his movements that he does.
Ew,
How does he does do those moves?
Yeah,
right?
he does.
How does he question Chad on the date when Chad is just trying to mind his own business and say, "Why are you here?" You know what I mean? That's not cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's not.
And Chad kind of voiced that to JoJo. He's like, I'm the bully, but I'm getting bullied.
Right.
But
She was just like, what? And then there's like this bully circle
I
around.
truly-
He doesn't do
It was-
himself any favors when he's with her. He really
It was the
doesn't.
weird thing. Chad goes, I'm the bully, but he's trying to bully the bully. And she goes, well, don't be the bully. And then he goes, I'm not a bully.
But he's like,
Chad
"Oh."
said that.
But I know what he
really
means.
tied. Yeah. He, again, his delivery, it was just so wrong. But you know what he's trying to say.
Can we just spend 1 minute talking about this conversation about Hitler and Mussolini and Trump and Bush? Daniel had to be, I know it was the middle of the day, but he had to be tipsy or something.
I don't think so.
I
I
that
don't
was
think
him.
so.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever heard
But
anyone
on top
say.
of that, while he's having this conversation, Chad is sitting there eating a raw
sweet
potato.
No, it was cooked. It was
No.
cooked. Yeah. It,
Either way, okay, either
Oh,
way,
he
that's
was?
not
No,
how
because
Do you think they put those sound effects on?
No,
We're all talking over each other. but-
cooked. Yeah.
you guys,
There's
but
somebody
you
who
don't
just-
eat a sweet potato like that.
I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
I had tears in my eyes, and then he's just eating a piece of lettuce like he's a rabbit. Like, that was the best thing
It was
ever.
hilarious.
But for me, it had to be supplement. If Daniel's not there, it's weird. Because Daniel's there, it makes it funnier.
Oh,
and Daniel's
so
asking
much
questions that are just phrased. For example, how's your hair? And then he goes, didn't you want to punch him last night? People think you're out of control, right? Like,
Right?
I know it's a Canadian thing to
yeah,
write,
yeah.
but for us, like, it sounds so out of context. Like,
Yeah.
But I appreciate
Oh,
this
Brooks, you like
conversation
wearing hats,
between
right?
them.
Oh, yeah, man. Right?
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it because I feel like Daniel is trying to be his friend and trying to tell him like, dude, this is how people are perceiving
Yeah.
you. Like,
let's just
I
sit
don't
down.
want to be like associated with you. Just like kind of change some things out. Be a little bit more like Bush instead of Mussolini.
It was
you
like
know?
seeing intelligence out of Daniel that we
It was-
hadn't seen
Yeah.
that level of.
It was so funny.
Let's not
It
be
was
so much
amazing.
like
Okay,
Hitler.
just not that great.
More
on
like
his
Mussolini.
And
delivery.
then Chad gives him like this eyebrow that I wish I could do, but I can't. Like,
Yeah.
I love how
think
Chad
that-
was like, let's not.
Chad.
Yeah, let's not.
No.
Chad is
Let's
Brad.
not compare me to Hitler.
Yeah.
Chad is Brad Pitt from Ocean's 11, eating in every scene.
Is he eating every scene? I didn't even
Almost
notice
every
that.
almost
Oh.
every scene.
I have to rewatch
That was a
that.
joke
Yeah,
in
I
Ocean's
don't
11.
know.
It
Oh,
almost
was
every
it?
scene. Anyways,
Missed it.
I want to give some time to
you,
James
Daniel.
to James's date because
All
James
right. That happened.
date was
Sweet
awesome.
pumpkin.
The card
James.
comes and it says, "Let's kick it old school. Swing dancing lessons in Culver City with the 92-year-old. Ladies, have at it. What'd you see? What do you like? What do you hate? Is there anything to even hate about James?"
No, James is great.
I love James.
Yeah.
I think he's really
Why?
sweet. He's
He's a
fun.
lovely
He's
human.
charming.
Yeah.
What is it?
'cause
Articulate
I
for me.
think his James's soul, which okay, let's back up. That old school date, I think was perfect for him and how she described him. I think he has like an old soul. Like it's just so genuine. And I think someone like him
Like a
is
92-year-old soul that dances really well.
yeah,
so.
exactly like that. No, but I think someone like him is honestly really few to come by these days. I mean, I think he's a gem. I think he's a huge catch. And I was really interested to see because she was talking about like if they had actual chemistry. And I think that kiss like spoke volumes.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
Christina, I know you were
Yeah.
firing at the bit there to say something.
I just think that
Firing at the bit?
This is
Chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
Firing at the whatever.
this is the type of
You know what I
I
mean?
had to, yeah.
I would want a guy
Sorry, Daddy.
who would be in this uncomfortable situation and be like, yeah, let's make it the most fun day we can possibly have together.
Absolutely.
And that's what he did. And especially what I thought was just so cute and charming about him was when they were actually dancing in that square outside the Culver City Hotel. At the end of it, he thanked all the other dancers and we're like, you guys were awesome.
Yeah.
And his energy is infectious, you know?
Yes.
And that's what you want, someone
He's
who's like the life of
awesome.
the party to kind of like be your ride or die with you.
So real life question then, ladies, do you think he's gonna get put in the friend zone?
I was a little worried about that.
Yeah, I don't
she
think
said it.
no.
She said it so many times about him being in the friend zone that I feel like it's a legit concern. But that kiss,
But the
seemed
kiss,
intimate.
I mean,
but we said like he might be in the friend zone, right? We said that last week
Yeah.
too. I don't know. What do
Now
you think?
You stack him up. I had the same question. If we were to stack James up against Luke and against
Ugh.
Wells and you're JoJo, are you gonna pick James?
no.
And what are, let's be honest, what are the
Can you
reasons?
confidently say no?
No,
If it were
actually,
you,
I
that's
can't
fine.
100% confidently say no. However, my gut says no only purely due to chemistry.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a hard one because I think we've seen way more personality out of James than we have out of Wells.
And
or Luke.
I think Wells is a dark horse.
Yeah.
I think Wells is honestly a dark horse.
What does that mean?
We're
think
gonna
he's-
see him.
We're
I
gonna
think
see
we're
him
gonna see a whole him and
shine.
Luke. I think we're gonna see a bunch more. I think Wells.
I hope we see more of Luke.
I hope Ali's a dark horse. Otherwise, like, what is he still doing there? I mean,
He's a bartender. He's probably making some
Maybe.
stupid awesome drinks.
I think he's gonna be.
He's gonna be going
he's
home.
Gonna be going
yeah,
home.
he's out.
So
But can I say one more thing
Yeah.
about James before we move on?
Yeah.
Because, damn it, don't you all just want her
Gosh,
to pick James?
yeah, it's so bad.
I said that first episode. James
Wait.
is my favorite.
can I think he's going to be the next Bachelor.
Okay.
I don't
James.
think he could emotionally handle that.
Oh, I think he could.
I think he could. And I also think what's
He's-
I just don't
interesting,
think they'll put him.
yeah.
he has the same sort of thing that Ben had going on where he almost was like, I just don't think I'm lovable. You know how that
he
was
didn't
like
say
Ben's
that, but he
shtick?
did have a story.
Yeah, but it was similar. He's
Talking
like, I
about
don't think I'm attractive
The
enough.
big ears and long neck. By the way, he missed a golden opportunity. He was talking about being called Luke Longneck.
Yeah.
That's from Luke Longley that was on the Chicago Bulls in the 90s. Also had like reddish hair. That's what those kids were
that's what
calling
they
him.
were
Oh,
calling
he had
him.
no idea?
Yeah, he was like, that's not my name. My name's
It's
James.
James.
But I love the way
Cuter.
It is, and
That
it
is
made me
cute.
like him even more actually. But I honestly think he for me is like he's top 3. He's
Oh,
he's
I agree.
incredible.
No, I think he makes it very
The
far.
thing that, and I agree with you, Chelsea. The thing that my reservation on is because she said she likes bad boys, and he's not. But he's opposite. He is the most I would say so far that we've seen marriage material out of all the guys.
Okay, so question though, you talked about her maturity, her emotional maturity. James is the only one that's tapped into that. She's cried
Good
twice
point.
with him.
That's a
Right.
really good point. I thought it was only once. It is twice.
It is twice, yeah.
But can you blame her?
But he can't
I'd
bring
be
his
bawling my eyes out.
guitar every time.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he needs it though. To be honest, with you. I don't
No,
think he needs
I
it.
don't. The guitar is literally like an extra cherry.
Yeah.
He's got it all.
It's
like
laugh,
when
the
you whip
persona,
out that.
the awe.
Yeah.
It's perfect. The way his presence is.
But do you
infectious.
think
She's
she
not gonna
feels
get picked,
safe
that's-
with him?
But
I think she
I go
should.
back.
Because if there was someone to
emotionally-
go through life that out of all the guys so far that you're like, I know I would have a good time and life would be great. James is the only one that's displayed that at
Stands
this
out.
Christina,
point.
let me
Yeah.
ask you a question.
Yes, let's hear it.
How important is it to you to have a guy that's loyal? Is that in your top 2, 3, 1?
100%.
Out of all the guys in the house,
1, 2, 3.
out of,
That's not
let me ask you, let me
100.
ask you- let me ask you a question. Out of all the guys in the house, is there a guy that you would feel like would be more loyal than James from what you've seen so far? From what we've seen so far.
I mean, from what we've seen so far,
Say it together.
no. I guess James or Derek. But James, I guess.
Derek.
Derek, maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Who's Derek?
Who's Derek?
He guys,
That's a bad thing.
That's bad.
That's a bad
I
thing.
don't know who Derek
That goes
is.
back to what we were talking about
Derek's the
earlier,
one who
making
had
impressions.
Derek's the one who had the one-on-one date in San Francisco last week with all the surprises.
Looks,
yeah.
looks, like, Jim,
Oh,
looks like
yeah.
Jim Halper.
No.
I just remember him by the date.
Yeah, same.
No, he looks like Krasinski.
Or John, Jim
Yeah,
Halper
yeah,
from The
Jim
Office.
Halper.
Oh.
Okay, so that's everything tonight. We have a whole nother night of drama, and I could not be more excited about it. Any final thoughts? Do you guys want to do predictions?
I don't want to.
I don't think we need to because
No.
we'll do the predictions tomorrow night. Any
Yeah.
final thoughts on tonight?
Yes.
Guys, yes, lay it out because I have to be honest, ladies. There are some people on the chat roll who did not like that you guys defended Chad.
And I I can see that side. I understand that, but I just think you have to be really careful in how you're like consuming our words.
Agreed. And also, I think that it's hard not to stand up for Chad because he's just defending himself. Evan ran out to Chris Harrison.
Like, we're not in kindergarten.
Yeah. No.
You're there to get married. Be a man. Handle a situation.
And also, like, Evan, like, that's not cool. You already have a rose. You know what I mean? So you should be satisfied and confident with your relationship with JoJo, that you have a rose, that you are going on. It should not matter about anyone else.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. If you already have a rose and he still feels the need to say something, does that tell you that maybe there's more violence and awkward situations in the house that we haven't seen that warrant him having to say something?
I think Evan is very insecure. And also, I get that people don't respect the fact that we're, I don't know,
I get it.
Chad, that we're defending him.
If I was listening, I might be like, wait, why are you defending Chad? But if sit down and look at the situation, it's not necessarily... I'm not condoning his actions or violence or anything that it may be, but if you break it down a little bit more, like Chad is actually from what they show, he's not this huge monster.
He's not as villainous as they made him appear.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Would you feel safe emotionally with Chad?
No,
based on what you've seen. I know we don't know. Based on what you've seen.
I just wrote an article about 6 reasons never to date a guy like Chad. So you guys should go read it and see what I think. And I think in this situation, Chad is kind of sometimes the victim. I do think that. But I don't think he's like the one JoJo should pick.
All right. Well, in the meantime, till tomorrow night, Brooks, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Brooks Forrester. You can find me on Instagram at Brooks A. Forrester and on Snapchat at Brooks-Forrester. Take a nap after all that. That was long.
It was long. Hey guys, thanks for watching. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Miss Zias.
Do it for the snap.
Do it for the Insta. I am everywhere at Briche.
And I'm Danny Hoyt. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Danny Hoyt. But I want to shout somebody out who wrote, speaking of an article, is this girl, Emma Lady Rose. Her name's Emma Gray, and she does a podcast as well. I don't know if she's listening. She's out of New York, but she writes for the Huffington Post, and she does stuff on women's rights for the Huffington Post. Wrote an article about Chad. I'm going to retweet it again tonight. Cool. Phenomenal. One of the best things I read all week long, and she articulates it in ways that I think we all try to say. We're not defending him, but there's some problems there. She articulated it in ways like I could never put it. It was phenomenal. So I'm going to retweet it tonight. Thank you guys for hanging. We'll see you tomorrow night, same time right here, AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.